Jay here, Stretford, Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm in the studio, which means one thing. It's live, so get involved in the comments, get involved in the chat. Let us know what you think about all the latest stories doing the rounds on Manchester United Football Club. We're going to be talking about Scott McTominay. He's giving an interview where he's letting us know the thoughts and what's going on behind the scenes with Ralf Rangnick and the feedback he's been getting from him. We know that Rangnick spoke about McTominay and Fred after the Palace game, so he's been responding to some of those comments as well. We'll also have some transfer rumours. Manchester United being linked with a host of midfielders. It's not just one, it's not two, but three midfielders, and the usual one of Erling Haaland as well. There's an Erling Haaland rumour doing the rounds, but I think it's pretty much a box standard one that, you know, United would like to sign Erling Haaland, but so does everyone else. And there's going to be a bit of a bidding war in there, or a, I don't know, he's got a buyout clause. It might just be a wooing war, if that's even a thing, in the summer. So let us know what you think about all that. Some people in the comments already. Mark Leonard says, my man Jay. Tarun Camplin says, yes, Jay. Thanks for your chat. Big up, Jay, says Maurice Varela. Thank you for your support, guys. Do make sure you check out as well 12 Days of Paddock. We've got a giveaway there where you can win a PlayStation 5 over on the members section even. So have a look at that. Right, should we get into it then? Should we see what Scott McTominay's got to say? Scott McTominay is giving an interview, I think it was with Sky, where he's speaking about Ralf Rangnick and his approach. It says, you see it in the thumb, no nonsense Rangnick. So it says here, Scott McTominay has spoken about Ralf Rangnick's direct management style. Some of the quotes that he says, the first early impressions are very, very good. He's very driven and knows what he wants. In meetings, he is very clear. And also, McTominay, this was sort of quite interesting, this clip. You've probably seen this clip doing the rounds on social media, where McTominay defended himself a little bit because Ralf Rangnick had pointed out that there was a couple of sideways passes from Fred and McTominay, and he didn't want that with the ball moving forward. Now I think he literally said there was a couple or there was two, and Scott McTominay was asked about this. He was asked about the manager sort of mentioned the fact that he did some square passes or some backwards passes, or I think they were square passes. Sorry. And he said, and Scott McTominay put out, one. I think it was one from McTominay and one from Fred. So he got a little bit defensive on that front. And some people have pointed out and gone, he's getting a bit prickly about it. But I think he's got every right to defend himself. Going on to what he said, sometimes games are difficult. We've had difficult moments this season as a squad and us both as individuals. That's part and parcel of the game. I've got nothing else to say other than I give absolutely everything. I'm trying my best to improve, to learn. A new coach has come in, and I'm doing everything that I can possibly do. He also says, you've just got to get on with it and be thick-skinned. People can say what they want, but ultimately, it's me that's in my own head, and I know what I am doing behind closed doors is the best thing. So, yeah, he's had a little bit of stick on his Scott McTominay this season. I'll be honest with you, I don't think his performances have been good enough. I like Scott McTominay, and I've always stuck up for him on this channel, and I think he's a good player. But I think this season, he hasn't been at the races at all. I think this has probably been his worst season so far in a Manchester United shirt. Now, that doesn't mean he can't turn it around. We've seen glimpses, haven't we, of the Scott McTominay of old, if you could say that, where we've seen him doing well. But there have been moments rather than full games. Hopefully, it can build on the recent result against Palace. He's got a new manager. He's got someone who obviously is giving him feedback, letting him know what he thinks, letting the press know what he thinks as well, which is kind of rare because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer often played his cards close to his chest when it came to his players. He was often very defensive of his players publicly. I don't think he was always the case like that behind closed doors, but publicly very rarely said anything that was even mildly critical of them. Ralf Rangnick is a little bit more open on that front, and it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. Let us know what you think about Scott McTominay, about his comments. Do you think he's right to defend himself? Do you think he is playing better than some people are giving him credit for? Or do you think there is more to come from him? A lot of people actually want to see Scott McTominay drops from what I've seen on social media. They want to see Donny van der Beek come into that role alongside Fred. I think Fred over the last few weeks has sort of cemented his standing in the team, and I don't think many of us saw that coming a few months ago, but he has. I think there's very few people out there now who are saying that Fred should be dropped. I mean, there's still some, but not like there was previously. But now it seems that Scott McTominay is the one people looking at and going, is he good enough? Fred sort of separated himself a little bit from the McFred axis, whereas people looking at Scott McTominay and going, would we be better off with a Donny van der Beek or maybe even an Nemanja Matic in that role? Let us know what you think. Jordan Payne says, Shiny J himself, thank you. Sam Mercer says, up the Paddock J. Jack Walker says, who do you think going to go in January? That's a good question. There's a couple of stories doing the rounds, and these have been doing the rounds for the past few weeks, if not months. One name that keeps popping up is obviously Jesse Lingard. He's been linked with a move away. He's been linked with a move at one point, I think, back to West Ham. I think a few other clubs have been in for him, and I think that, or been linked with him, sorry. I think the main one now is Newcastle. There's talk of him going to Newcastle and being offered something like I saw one report that was saying 200k a week contracts. I don't think that's a little bit excessive, but Newcastle have obviously got a lot of money. They're one of the richest clubs in the world now. They need to buy. They need to bring players in because they're right near the bottom of the table. Jesse Lingard, he is an England international. 28 years old. He's arguably in the prime of his career, certainly physically. Usually at that age you are. Still got a lot to offer. He scored a couple of goals this season. He's done okay. I don't think he had a very good game midweek against Young Boys. But other than that, and ironically, the Young Boys away game, other than those two games, he's kind of done okay this season. He's done well for England. He scored a couple of goals for Manchester United. And you think that him going to Newcastle, he would elevate them. He would be a player that goes straight into that team and could, from their point of view, hopefully help him get out of the relegation trouble and move up the table. Because I think for Newcastle, the big thing is just staying up. And then in the summer, they can go big in the transfer market because they've obviously got lots of money. I know they're slightly limited because of the financial fair play, if that's even a thing anymore. But they should still be able to spend a lot of money. Jordan Amor says, will West Ham want Jesse after the sounds of things he didn't want to go back last summer? Yep, he didn't, did he? I think they were linked with him. I think there was a little bit of disparity between what West Ham were willing to pay and what Manchester United wanted. I think United wanted around 20 million, 25 million for Jesse Lingard. I think West Ham were looking to pay about half of that. United looked at it and said, well, you know, he's still a very good player and he's obviously done well there. We want this money for him. But I think the sort of the other side to this argument, or the point of intrigue here, was that Jesse might not have been that keen on going back to West Ham. He may have looked at it and gone, West Ham are a club that, okay, they've just had a good season. I've had a very good season there. We still didn't make the Champions League. Are they going to be Champions League contenders next season? Probably not. The twist is they actually are. They are in the shout of the Champions League. I think maybe if Jesse Lingard had predicted that or known that, he might have felt about it differently. But he didn't. He stayed at Manchester United. As I said earlier, he's had some good games. It remains to be seen whether he's going to sign a new deal. I don't think he will. So if he doesn't, he can go for free in the summer. But someone like Newcastle could come in and go, we need him in January. We need to get ourselves up the table. We're willing to offer him massive wages and maybe United a few quid as well. We'll have to offer something. Marista Boy says, love your work, Jay. Thanks for your support. John B says, I'll be sad to see Jesse go, but can't blame him. I mean, he's not really likely to get in the first team, is he? Some people said that he could fit into a Ralf Rangnick system because he's energetic. I was talking about this last time, I think, last week on the news. He's energetic. He likes to press. He's always showing for the ball as well. That kind of fits in with what you'd expect Ralf Rangnick wants. However, when you look at the amount of players we've got in similar positions to Jesse Lingard, not all of them identical, but similar positions. So you can look at the likes of Bruno Fernandes. You can look at the likes of Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford, Mason Greenwood. They're kind of in that similar-ish position, aren't they? And you wonder, is he going to get in ahead of all those? Probably not. I don't know. I think it looks like he's going to move on, doesn't it, Jesse Lingard? And I think he can move on and be well thought of at Manchester United. Scored a couple of goals in cup finals. Scored some memorable goals at the Emirates, of course, turned it into his dance floor. Proper rattled the whole, not just the Arsenal fan base, but Arsenal themselves. They were tweeting about it and all sorts, weren't they? Dancing emojis and everything. That proper got under their skin. So I think he'll be fondly remembered. But we'll have to wait and see. We'll see what happens in January, whether he does move on or whether he waits till the summer. Who knows? I think he's going to have one eye on the World Cup, though, next winter, because he'll want to go there with England. He's not going to do that if he's just wasting half his time sat on the bench at Manchester United. Give us a like. We've got over 700 people watching and 55 likes. Hit that like button. Get involved in the comments and let us know what you think about Jesse Lingard, about anything else, about Scott McTominay's comments with it when it comes to Ralf Rangnick. Do you agree with Ralf Rangnick about the square passes and that sort of thing? Do you agree with Scott McTominay about what he's saying about, he can improve and all that sort of stuff? How do you feel about anything Manchester United related? It could be something we're not even talking about. Just get involved in the chat and get involved in the comments. Let us know what you think. Jordan Amor says, sorry, I've already read that one. Marist Boy 25 says, would love to see Declan Rice come in the summer with Jesse going the other way. Yep, Declan Rice, who has been linked with Manchester United quite a few times, kind of makes sense there. He's having a very good season. He had a very good season last season. It's obviously a position we need to fill. We need someone who can play in that sort of midfield, holding midfield role. And Declan Rice certainly fits the bill. The only problem there is I think he's going to be huge money. I really do. He's on a pretty long-term deal. I think he's going to have other clubs that are in for him as well that may be looking at Declan Rice and going, he could do a job here. Chelsea have been linked with him. He was obviously at Chelsea before he went to West Ham as a youngster. So he has that connection. If they come in for him, they've always got money. Then you could end up in a bidding war with Chelsea. Will Manchester United, or more importantly, the Glazers, release the funds that enables us to sign someone like Declan Rice if his fee is getting upwards of 90 million? Because I think David Moyes was saying he'd be more than 100 million. Now, you might say, okay, that's a little bit sort of tongue-in-cheek and trying to just put people off. But an England international, a young lad, he's only, 22, I think? Even at that young age, bags of Premier League experience, and we've seen how good he can be and how he's helped catapult that team from mid-table to bottom half of the table, to mid-table to Europa League sort of ish to Champions League places, to challenging for the Champions League places. He's been a massive part of their success. So he is going to be massive money. Are United going to pay it? We'll have to wait and see. There are other targets that Manchester United are interested in, though. There's a story doing the rounds on ESPN, and it says Ralf Rangnick has identified Manchester United's midfield as an area of weakness in his interview with club bosses and suggested players of interest before being offered the job as interim manager, sources have told ESPN. So when he went for the job, Ralf Rangnick, he had this interview process. Not like United to do an interview process. We usually just, go right to David Moyes' house and ask him if he fancies it, or bring in Ollie, or, just chase after Jose or whatever. We don't usually have this sort of stringent interview process where we have different candidates, but it seems we did this time, and he impressed everyone with his interview process, because he got the job. He identified players that he wanted to bring in, and the players that have been linked with us are RB Leipzig's Amadou Haidara. I've spoken about it a few times. I think he's available for 33 million quid, which kind of makes sense because it's not massive money. I mean, in this day and age, obviously 33 million pounds is a lot of money, but in modern football, for a player who coming into the Premier League, coming into a side like Manchester United, 33 million isn't a lot at all. There's also Borussia Dortmund's Jude Bellingham and Leeds United's Calvin Phillips. Jude Bellingham is a fantastic talent, isn't he? He really is. I would love to see Jude Bellingham at Manchester United. I think, again, though, you're going to have a problem. I think other clubs are going to be in for him. I think there's been links with maybe Liverpool, something like that. Be interesting to see what happens there. I would love to see Jude Bellingham in a Manchester United shirt. Also, Leeds United's Calvin Phillips. So there's another one that we've been linked with. Now, you might look at it and go, Leeds United, are they going to sell us one of their best players? There's a fierce rivalry between Leeds and Manchester United, but it's happened in the past, hasn't it? Rio Ferdinand, Eric Cantona, of course, Alan Smith, who was a cult hero there, all ended up at Manchester United. So it's not like it hasn't happened before. We'll have to wait and see whether they need to sell, whether they can keep hold of him, whether he wants to leave. Lots of ifs and buts. I mean, would you want to see Calvin Phillips at Manchester United? Would you want to see Declan Rice at Manchester United? Jude Bellingham? Let us know what you think. Alex Bailey says, Jude de Jong and Phillips. Yes, Frankie de Jong is another one we've been linked with. Barcelona may be looking to sell him. They're a bit skinned. They need to bring in funds for Xavi to do his rebuilding process. And perhaps de Jong could be one who makes way. If that is the case, would you welcome de Jong there? Nitin says Bellingham will end up at the Scousers. I understand where you're coming from on that one. I really do. I have a sneaky feeling he could end up there. I'll be gutted if he does. Voyage says Bellingham, Sancho again. Yes, please. Yep. Obviously, those two played together for Dortmund and played well for Dortmund. I'm hoping that Jadon Sancho was constantly in the chat with him, saying, "You got to get down here to Old Trafford. It's mint." Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Gary De Bola says Phillips is out for a while, injured, isn't he? I think is he not back in? I don't know. I thought there was talk of him and Bielsa having a little bit of a rift. I thought he was back in the squad, but forgive me, I've got that one wrong. Sam Mercer says Haaland, really? Yeah, there is a Haaland link as well. I think that this has been doing the rounds for everyone. That Erling Haaland has been linked with United. He's been linked with Manchester City. He's been linked with, I think, Chelsea as well. People looked at it and go, okay, will Chelsea still want him when they just brought in Lukaku? I think they probably would. I mean, Lukaku's not exactly setting the world alight there, but also you could quite easily just bring in Erling Haaland anyway, because Chelsea have got money and Erling Haaland's a lot younger than Romelu Lukaku, so it's not like they're both going to be there for the next 10 years. I think, what is Lukaku? Is he 28 something? They might end up even moving him on. They do that quite a lot, Chelsea, don't they? They bring in players, sort of big money, short term, and then just move them on if they don't work out. I'll have to wait and see. A lot may depend on how Romelu Lukaku does this season. If he fires Chelsea to the title or whatever, then they might not look at Erling Haaland. But if he struggles, if he's just not quite at the level that they want, Erling Haaland could be available. Well, he will be available, and that could be a move that they decide to make. Hopefully, though, United could go for him. Let us know about Erling Haaland. Would you have him? Alex Bailey says Haaland is linked with everyone. Mbappe only linked to Real Madrid. Yeah, Real Madrid obviously heavily linked with Mbappe. They tried to sign him, didn't they? On transfer deadline day for big money. PSG obviously digging the heels in and saying no, we're not having any of it. So Mbappe stayed there, but you'd expect Real Madrid to come back in for him in the summer. Do we need Erling Haaland, or do you have faith that Mason Greenwood can be our main striker, or would you like to see both? We know that Ralf Rangnick likes to play this 4-2-2-2. Cristiano Ronaldo, 36, 37 in February. You've got Edinson Cavani, who's obviously, I don't see, he's not going to be here next season, is he? Let's have it right. Rebecca Jade O'Sullivan says, if Chelsea win the title, it's not because of Lukaku. He's been poor this season. He has been a bit patchy. He's had a decent start, didn't he? I've questioned it when they bought him. I thought everyone was getting carried away like this is it, now they're going to win the title because they've got him. I think they've got a very good manager, they've got an excellent defence, and they've got some fantastic midfielders as well. I don't know. I just don't think Romelu Lukaku's at the very top level of strikers. I think he's just a little bit rung below. You may disagree. Get involved in the comments and let us know what you think. Do you want to see Manchester United signing Bellingham, Phillips, Rice, Hadara, or Haaland, all of them? Who do you think is going to come? Who do you want to see come to Manchester United? Mark Leonard said, do everything to get Haaland. Yeah. He is a goal-scoring machine, and some of the goals he scores as well are amazing. It's not just like he scores tapping. He scores some absolute worldies. Love to see that at Manchester United, and I think that he could fit in perfectly well with a Ralf Rangnick system, or obviously Rangnick might go move upstairs or to his consultancy role in the summer and someone else comes in, and if it does change it up a bit, you can still have I think you can have an Erling Haaland and a Mason Greenwood, even Cristiano Ronaldo working together. I think they're all phenomenal talents. Xander Red says, Bellingham all day long. Stellius P says, we are literally not going to sign any attackers. Stop the Haaland talk. He's having none of it. He says, we're not going to buy any attackers. Maybe it's midfielders, and I think midfielders is nailed on it. Everyone knows we need midfielders, and that's something that Ralf Rangnick himself has said, apparently in his interview. So he identified before he even got to the club. I'm going to leave it there. Make sure you're checking out the 12 Days of Paddock for our members, where you can win a load of prizes, including a PlayStation 5. If you're not doing, subscribe to the channel. Hit that subscribe button. Let's get to 700,000 subscribers by the end of the season. With your support, we can do it. I think we're over 620,000 now. I'm Jay Motti. This has been The Paper Talk. Thanks for watching.